Welcome back. We're to the northwest of Liverpool, this time to look at descending, approach and landing. We're flying straight and level in uncontrolled airspace at 100 knots. Maintain heading 090 and slow to 60 knots, keeping altitude 2,400 feet. Staying level at 2,400 feet, set flaps to 10 and see how the picture changes. Maintaining 2,400 feet, see how the nose is lower as the flaps have made the wing more effective. Flaps add both lift and drag, so you need a little extra power to hold your speed. Now set flaps to 20 and see what changes. Now accelerate to 80 knots. Keep a heading of east for now. Now keep 80 knots and start a slow descent, only going down at about 400 feet per minute. Keep descending at 80 knots and 400 feet per minute. This is how we'll fly down the initial part of the approach. Now please maintain your rate of descent and extend full flaps. Now that we've got full flaps, we have more lift and drag. Set and maintain a speed of 60 knots. Good, now holding 60 knots and a slow descent of 300 to 400 feet per minute. This is how we'd fly the end of the approach as we get close to landing. Get used to this attitude and power setting and keep descending further. So this is how things would look as we come into land. But if things don't go well, we perform a go-around, where we apply full power and pitch up to start a climb. Make sure not to do this too aggressively, however. Let's practice a go-around. Set full power now and set the climb attitude. Use some right rudder to stay straight and keep climbing. Set flaps to 20. Set the flaps to 10. Finally, retract the flaps completely. Good. Climb to 1,400 feet and get yourself straight and level at 100 knots. Trim nose down to ease the control pressure as you stabilise at 100 knots with a straight and level attitude. Now we'll head back to Liverpool and try a zone entry, approach and landing. Liverpool Golf Foxtrot Sierra Alpha Charlie, request VFR rejoin at Kirby.
Golf Alpha Charlie Liverpool radar, clear to enter controlled airspace at Kirby, not above 1,500 feet VFR. Squawk 5052, clearance limit, car factory.
Clear to enter, not above 1,500 feet VFR to car factory 5052 Golf Alpha Charlie. Turn right heading south. We're now looking to route to the car factory VRP, located just north of the airport. Now continue south into the Liverpool control zone and you'll soon begin to see the factory as a large flat industrial building near to the airport. Visual reference points, VRPs, are local landmarks that give points of reference to VFR flights to easily communicate their positions. Chosen for their standout features, VRPs are shown on VFR maps. ATC assigned us a squawk code, which is entered into the transponder to label us on the ATC radar screen. On our way back, let's talk about the aiming point. Once established on the approach, we pick a spot on the runway and try to lock that point in the same place on our windscreen all the way down. It could be runway numbers, a touchdown marking, or something else. Continue on this heading of south and you should be able to see the car factory soon.
Golf Alpha Charlie, contact Liverpool Tower 126.355.
126.355 Golf Alpha Charlie. We'll report to ATC that we've reached our clearance limit at the Car Factory VRP. Golf Alpha Charlie, Car Factory.
Golf Alpha Charlie, make right orbit for traffic, call complete.
Right orbit Wilco, Golf Alpha Charlie. Start a 360 turn, known as an orbit, to the right as instructed by ATC. The landing attitude will be just like what we saw earlier, which we used to fly down towards our aiming point. As we cross the runway threshold, move your gaze to the far end of the runway and then use peripheral vision to judge your height. Then we'll pull the power back and raise the nose to the flare attitude, which is just enough to reduce your rate of descent and touch down on the main gear first. Then we'll smoothly allow the nose wheel to land and let your speed fall off with the power still at idle. Maintain 1,400 feet. Bank angle. Golf Alpha Charlie, orbit complete.
Golf Alpha Charlie, enter right downwind, runway 27, number 1.
Right downwind, runway 27, Golf Alpha Charlie. Make a left turn here to fly heading 090 parallel to the runway. Descend down to 1,100 feet. Bank angle. Keep flying parallel at 1,100 feet until the runway threshold appears at a 45-degree angle behind you over your right shoulder. I'll let you know when to turn. Looking over your right shoulder, the threshold of the landing runway seems to be about 45 degrees behind us. Now's a good time to make our right-hand turn to start lining up with the runway. Start a gentle descent and start slowing to 80 knots. Once your speed is down to within the white arc, take flaps 10 and hold 80 knots. We're in the white arc now, so set flaps to 10. Hold the speed of 80 knots with a gradual descent. Now take flaps 20, speed still at 80 knots.
Golf Alpha Charlie, cleared to land, runway 27, wind 250 at 4 knots.
Cleared to land runway 27, Golf Alpha Charlie. Okay, we're cleared to land. Finally take flaps full and slow to 60 knots. power to idle and set the flare attitude. Stay on the centre line as you decelerate, then vacate at the first exit on your right.
Golf Alpha Charlie taxi via Alpha and link Kilo.
Alpha and Kilo, thank you, Golf Alpha Charlie. Now we're vacated, after landing checks, flaps up, transponder to standby. Well done, so we've looked at re-entering the control zone, entering the circuit and making an approach and landing. We'll move on to focusing on the circuit pattern.